All right, before we start, okay, there's some ground rules I want to set. You might not agree, but like,
No,
no, hold on, hold on,
no,
hold on,
no,
hold
no,
on,
no ground rules.
hold
No
on, hold
ground
on.
rules.
No,
We're
no,
not
no,
doing any
no,
ground
no,
rules.
no.
All
Hold
right,
on.
I'm
Wait,
done.
no, no, no.
No ground
Just
rules.
hear me out first.
I'm
I
hearing you.
don't want
Blah blah blah.
to review this
No,
movie.
no
I
ground
I
rules.
want you trying to review this movie like
No
in
ground rules.
1994, 1995. I don't want to take
You
all the
want us to time
knowledge.
travel? You want us to time travel to go see this movie?
No, no, I'm talking about like we can't compare this movie to Endgame, like
Oh,
things like that.
I'm gonna compare it to whatever I want. Your rules have been thrown out the window.
Because if we do, right, we cannot like Back to the Future anymore.
I
Can you
can look
agree
to
on
Back to the
that?
Future if I want to. No, I can't agree on that. That's
Okay,
just a
so let's get
stupid
into it. So
analogy.
this might be
Just
very
ground rules.
interesting because this is going to go back to one
It
of those
probably won't.
things
Sadly,
that
this probably
no,
won't
no,
be
no.
that
This is going
interesting.
to be going back to one of those things that are like, well, I always say that like, how can we only can pick the rules for this but not for this? You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we like Back to the Future, but then the rules are all messed up.
Hey,
And I agree.
hey, hey, hey,
Time
wait,
Cop. Hold
stop.
on,
Just
let me.
stop. Just cut.
Time Cop is
For God,
the
stop
same
for a
movie as Back
second.
to the Future. Same movie as Back to the Future.
No, it isn't. It
Yes,
ain't
it
the same as
is.
Back to the
It
Future.
sure
No,
is.
it's not.
The
Oh my
rules are
God,
the
buddy.
same as Back to the Future. I mean, like, this is not a good
Okay.
movie. I
Okay.
mean,
Hey. How about we do this? How about we just review the movie and you quit making rules and assuming you already know what I'm going to say?
oh,
Because
I
if you already
don't.
know what I'm going to say, then
I have an
it's just
idea,
wasting
but
my
I don't know
time.
what you're gonna say. Okay, let's do it.
You don't got an
We're doing
idea.
Time Cop.
Because
Let's
you
get
didn't even
into it.
ask me if I like this movie.
Okay, yeah. You know what? This is your first time watching this, right?
This is the first time I've ever seen this movie.
Okay. And have like back then when you heard about it, were you even interested to like put the premise and stuff, or did you even know about this back in
No,
'93?
I knew about it because everybody was talking about it, or some people talked about it. I mean, nobody. It wasn't that popular. I didn't hear that many people talk about it. A lot of people, if they talked about this, because it's
Jean
John
Claude Van
Claude
Damme.
Van Damme. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean that's the only reason because everybody saw Bloodsport. I couldn't see Bloodsport. It's rated R. I couldn't even see this movie. It's rated. What is this movie
I
rated?
just rated R.
See, I would have been able to see this movie. Wait, 94. I
93,
could have saw
94.
this
Let me
movie.
see.
Oh, I could have saw this movie. It is 94. This was a 1994.
1994
Somehow
movie.
I missed this movie, but I could have swore I heard people talk about it, but I never saw it. And I don't think I really had a big interest in it. It
It,
seemed, let's put it as what I
okay.
heard about it sounded interesting,
The
but I
premise, right?
wasn't,
Yeah.
I don't know. I must have had some other things going on because I didn't go see it, didn't go look for it. Never was interested in going to find it,
Okay.
you know. I mean, I like the Back to the Future. It's cool. I like time travel. It's cool.
Right.
But no, I never went looking for this movie because I'm not really a big Jean-Claude
Van
Van Damme
Damme.
fan. I mean, I don't have anything with him against him or anything. I'm not. You're not gonna hear me go, oh, he was a bad actor in this movie because I didn't think he was.
No, he wasn't. He's actually pretty good in this movie.
He's actually a pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't seen a lot of his stuff. I don't think he's a bad actor or anything. I'm not a fan. I'm not gonna run out there and go see him.
You know what? Even though when he was high on cocaine, he was still pretty good in Street Fighter.
Yeah, you can do a lot of things when you're high on cocaine.
Yeah. But like, I mean, you know what? He's not a bad actor at all.
No, he's not a bad actor.
Of all the
I don't
stuff
think
I've seen, he's not a bad actor.
No, I mean, he's not somebody I'm going to go rush out and see. He never became a household name. He never became a Schwarzenegger or
Oh,
a
Stallone, yeah.
Stallone or a Cruz.
This is his biggest movie to
This
date,
is his
though.
biggest movie, but this is
Yeah.
also a lot of people think and I don't think so, but a lot of people are saying this is probably what led to his downfall too.
This
And he
movie?
says he said he kind of did too. It's not because he did bad acting or anything. He thought he was bigger than he was and and demanded more money.
Oh, okay.
And he claims that him demanding more money and them not giving it to him, which made him get deeper
Short,
into
yeah.
his drug fueled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because he was already. I think he was probably already using drugs and stuff by this movie.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like, I didn't
They
go
don't
into
say,
that, but yeah.
let me tell you, if this is after the movie, he asked for a three-picture deal and didn't make it. And he said he got deeper into his drug deal. Then apparently he was already
Oh, so
snorting
you read
cocaine.
about that? Okay.
You know.
Did you
Now, you want to ask me if I like this movie?
Did you like this movie?
I don't love this movie, but I didn't think it was a bad movie.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I'm not going to badmouth this movie, okay?
Okay, so I didn't think it was
we
a bad
understand.
movie either compared to all the stuff that we
I didn't
watched.
think it was
It's
awesome.
okay.
I didn't think it was awesome.
It wasn't
okay.
awesome. It's okay.
If I was sitting there and it came on, I'd probably sit there and just watch through it.
Oh,
It's not going to
okay.
be on. It's not going to be my list. It's not on my list of bad movies, and it's not on my list of anything worth. It's not anything worth talking about, really. To me,
This
it's
is
just,
better than Judge
it's
Dredd. I
okay.
could say this.
Yes, I can say that it's better
Yeah,
than Judge Dredd. Yeah, because I'm putting Judge Dredd down there with almost Batman
almost
and
to the bad.
Robin.
Oh, bad. List of bad movies. Okay,
But this is not in there. It's just in the middle of the list.
good because I, for a long
It's
time.
a sadly I would say it's almost a forgettable movie.
Okay, for that's really true. So for a long time, right? I always wanted your opinion on this movie because we both love time travel so much,
Yeah.
and I never seen this in a movie theater. So what
Oh, I like
happens?
the idea of
The idea
a
was
cop
really good.
having to try to enforce
So
time
it's
enforcement.
like the
Yeah, I think it's a
Marvel's
good idea.
TVA, right? In a way, it's Marvel's
Yeah.
TVA not to mess up a timeline.
Or, well, yeah, there was also like temporal police in a lot of Star Trek movies too, or Star
Oh,
Trec TV shows. I should say that.
where
It's
they
not a lot, but like because Star Trek had a lot of time travel all the way, but about around I guess you say I mean I'm sure I'm wrong on this. Voyager's I didn't see a lot of Deep Space Nine. I saw
okay,
Voyager, and that's where they had a lot more of the
policing the
police
time
policing the
travel.
timeline. Yeah,
I always I guess
and
it's
they
easy
showed
to
up in
find.
Enterprise too.
So I
Which
guess
actually, the actor, which I want to put out, the
which
actor
one?
that plays the head enforcement
Oh
officer,
yeah.
he's actually in Star Trek Voyager as a time enforcement.
So you're kind of saying like he's
So,
typecast Bruce
I'm
McGill.
not saying he's Simcast because he's done a lot of stuff.
He's
But
done a lot of stuff too, but yeah,
yeah, because
I recognize that
next
actor.
to next to Van Damme, I think he's the only other person I recognize. Of course, the actress is Mia Sara. She's in Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Oh, that's right. Somehow I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Yes.
So.
And then who else do I recognize? I don't remember the
Well, of course, what's her name? The girl goes back in time with him. Gloria, is
Sarah
it Gloria
Gloria
Rubin?
Rubin, yeah.
Yeah, she's at ER or
Susan Susan ER.
Yeah, I mean, I recognized her too. I could. The sad thing is, I couldn't when I. It
When
wasn't
you
until
first
after I
saw her?
watched it. Yeah, when I first saw her, I knew her. I mean, I
Oh, you
didn't know her name,
recognize her, I know.
but I recognized her right away. I was like, I know this person.
This is
Like,
what
she's
happens
not.
when we watch 90s movies. Like, I remember this actress
Well,
because
that's
we've
the
seen.
thing.
Yeah.
I know 90 stuff. You usually recognize a lot of people, but just can't remember what they were in.
Oh. So let me tell you about my funny story how I saw this movie, okay?
Wait. Before you do that,
Okay.
can I ask you? You like this film? You're
I
a fan,
do.
I guess.
I am.
All right.
I do because like you
So
said.
how's it rank on the list of
Oh, it's
stuff that you
mediocre.
remember something?
It's not as
Okay.
bottom
Okay.
to worst Batman and Robin. I do enjoy this movie because I remember when I was young, right? So I'm going to go into my story. I never could
Yeah.
see this in the theater. The only way I knew Sean Claude Van Damme was like either Sudden Death. I think Sudden Death came after this,
So,
but
yeah, Sudden
it
Death
was
was after this.
Bloodsport. I don't think I seen him
Okay,
anything
Bloodsport,
else
yeah.
before after this. I mean before.
Yeah, Bloodsport's usually what everybody talks about when
Yep.
they talk about it.
And so the interesting idea is, I seen the trailer where like, a police agency, like an agency that, guards the timeline so nobody mess up anything like that. So I loved it. But I never seen this in a movie theater. So the funny story is like, I was still in high school and then like one of my friends rented the movie, right? Just in my neighborhood. Then like the whole family watched this movie in the house. Now, remember the part where he had that guy, the IT guy had the goggles on with the chick?
Yes.
So when
yeah, we'll
that
point out
scene-
this has boobs in it.
So
It's almost an 80s movie.
So just that part alone, right? It was a really awkward moment for the whole because we didn't know that was going to be in there. And then
Yeah, but
the
what
sex
about the
scene
first-
wasn't needed too.
Yeah, because you had the sex scene way before you had the boob scene.
Yeah, the boob
Because the
scene was
sex
really
scene,
funny. It
because the
just came out
sex
of
scene
nowhere.
has boobs in it too. The very beginning of the movie has boobs in it.
Yes.
But the video scene in the middle, it had a little bit more almost than that.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. You're trying to F my machine. It's like, okay. That was my funny start. So even without all the nudity and stuff, right? I find this movie to be really good when I was watching it. Because there's nothing like this after Back to the Future.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Back to the Future was 91, and then for a while now, no one wrote anything like that. And then this one, I want to say it follows the same rules as Back to the Future 1 and 2, where they have one timeline. So I'm like, okay, I do accept that at the scientific
I
equation
think
at
they
the
do,
time.
but in a way they do, in a way they don't. They just don't really get into the alternate timelines they kind of created.
They can't because like I feel like It's
Well,
just
I don't
based
think
on a
anybody.
comic book,
I don't.
and
It is based
you're
on a
right.
comic book by Dark Horse
Dark Horse
Comics.
Comics, yes. No,
But
go
the
ahead.
thing
Your
is,
thought.
yeah, I don't think they just don't get into it because a lot of people probably just never thought. I mean, a lot of people just don't think about time travel. It's a good story deal, but nobody really thinks it out or the consequences of it, or tries to make even. They never try to make a story on the concept built on the consequences. And, I mean, this movie's about the consequences of time travel, and
Yep.
they're trying to enforce it, but it's never really taken into account the consequences of time travel. I mean,
Yeah.
because a lot of their
It's
time that
very
they're already
simple.
in, yeah, because
Yeah.
by the time we get to the point where they're hiring John Claude Van Damme or they're going to start the time deal, they've already altered it reality. They already altered reality at the point that it should have did some damage.
That is true. Kind of like
I mean, come on.
Back to the
Let me put it this
Future.
way: if you go to the Civil War and you steal a gold shipment
Yeah.
and take it completely out of the deal, the gold shipment paid for guns and stuff that helped maybe either win a battle or lose or start a battle that they needed to lose in order for the country to either dissolve or stay
So
together.
I'm so yeah. So so glad you brought that point. So maybe like it did help because like it did help them lose because now they don't have gold to like what you said buy the ammunition they need. But like
Yeah,
I
or
feel
yeah,
like
because it's more than that. I mean, it's a ripple, and it's a
yeah.
big ripple. A little tiny ripple is actually a big ripple in a long run of things.
That's the other thing I noticed, right? Because I watched this movie a couple of times, and remember the guy that brought in the idea, like at that moment you can't go to the future because it haven't happened yet. But then
Yeah,
I
they
was
said
trying to
that.
think, okay, but then I think it only makes sense because they were already in the future, like 2004. That's why they can go back and then can go back to where they were.
Yeah.
That from.
Well, this movie, I mean, I laugh when he says it, but I also went with it because I thought, because he goes, "Oh, you can't go to the future because the future doesn't exist." And I laugh because obviously, if you build a time machine, the easiest thing you're going to be able to do is go into the future.
Yeah.
I mean, we constantly move into the future already. I mean, time travel is the way we know it. I mean, and it's been proven that it's already wrong. Well, not wrong, but
But
we can go back
yeah,
now.
idea, yeah.
We can't go back, but they can actually. There is the possibility of time travel to the past is now considered, with physics, a possibility now.
Yeah, and now have you seen that meme that say like now time travel is just an engineering problem?
Yeah,
Because
but
we
I think
find out so much.
it's
Yeah,
a little more than an engineering
yeah,
problem.
but
But
it's
the
just like
thing
simplify.
is, because we still don't understand. But the thing is, the easiest thing is you can go to the future. You can always go to the future. We go to the future. I go fall asleep, wake up 8 hours. I'm 8 hours in the future.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay, yeah.
it's a really simple concept. A lot of people want to argue with you. It's not time travel, but we are time traveling creatures. I
Creature,
mean,
yeah,
I mean
constantly.
everything on Earth. That's why everything breaks down, falls apart, dissolves, disintegrates,
And you're right.
and
And then
dies.
what people think time travel is like is an instant thing, but not like minute
Yeah.
by minute. Yeah, the
Usually, the best thing to me,
misconception.
people should always say, time travel travels one way, and it's always to the future. I mean, eventually, like you said, engineering may solve it where we can go backwards. But the thing is, the the thing is, it doesn't really make sense in another way for them to say that because eventually they're going to get to, and they do, and they can come back to that time, and they do. They travel back to that time where they're somewhere else, but not too long after they're sitting at that table, putting money in. Actually, maybe
Oh,
before that,
yeah.
because the guy looked all nervous. The villain, he's the villain because he keeps looking around. But he's not the villain yet. But he is the villain. That's the thing. The villain
Did you
already has
think in the
the villain
beginning?
from 10 years ahead has already come back to his time.
Did you think in the beginning that was the guy from the future already?
Well, that's somebody he sent back.
No, it was him, like the congressman. I'm saying like when the idea was first brought in the beginning, right? That congressman, that's the version of himself that came from back. That's why I said like, yeah, I'll overlook it because like one of the scenes where he goes back and he sees himself, right? He was like kind of nervous. He's like he doesn't know how to make decisions, and I noticed this like when I was watching the second time and like, he seems really confident there. Like he already know what's going on. He's already doing this at the time. He's like, yeah, I'll
Oh,
overlook
I
it.
didn't notice that. Now I have to go back and watch this
But it
movie.
makes sense, right? Because he want to go back to make more money for
You
his
sure?
campaign.
I didn't remember
Oh, I don't
him
know.
being
I'm
because
not
I thought
sure.
he had the other hairstyle. No, he didn't. That wasn't him because he
No,
didn't have the
I mean
hairstyle.
like I wasn't sure. I'm just talking like maybe it
Oh,
was,
okay. I thought you said it was.
Oh
No,
no no
it's
no.
not him yet. It's not him
Because he's
because
just like,
the
yeah, I'll
hairstyle
overlook
was
it.
different. And he kept looking at because he didn't know the other senator put him in here. He hasn't quite grasped his
Yeah, a
future.
concept idea.
He's too busy sitting there wondering how he's going to be the next president of the United States.
Did,
And he still doesn't have it because when he goes to sees all that stuff. Because remember, he gets called there to go look
mm,
at the chip.
did you
But the thing is, he's already time traveling. So the problem is him saying, "Oh, you can't go to the future." You actually can go to the future because it has happened. Because
I
even
know it's
now,
so
our future
touchy on that
has.
thing. But I think it's just a comic book, so just throw that line out there, so just just
Yeah.
throw you
Well,
off.
let me put it this way: if we're going to say the dumbest part of this movie, let's say we hate something in this movie.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you what I hate.
Okay.
It's those stupid cars they drive.
Oh, I was gonna bring that up. It
It's
reminds me of
just
Total Recall.
all of it is like all the movie look good. Like even their time travel room. I mean, they shoot across the wall. That's okay because I saw 12 Monkeys and I've seen a lot of other stuff. It doesn't have to make sense. So you shoot into a wall, it disappears. I mean, Back to the Future, you drive a car real fast, it
Yep.
disappears. Blah blah.
Some kind of
Everything you're
speed
always
thing.
in
Yep.
something and it just disappears. So it doesn't matter. I mean, the time travel, watching somebody time travel has always been dumb in every movie I've ever seen. I mean, in a minute we'll argue which is the best time machine, but the thing is, it's the cars. They get in the. I mean, because even in the computer labs where they time travel stuff looks like it could be plausible, real. But from our standards, and it should be anybody's standards, why are you going to have this big giant, weird looking car? And I mean, I guess it helps them in some spots because it's a set, it's a closed set. You don't have any windows on it, but we know people are going to have windows in the car because as time went on, cars just got more and more and more windows. I mean, even cars have glass roofs on them now.
Yeah.
I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. And the cars, I was like, who watched Blade Runner too much on this one? Because some of this does remind me of Blade Runner, especially the guns. I had a problem with the guns too. But I decided I made an excuse for why the guns work. They're the only thing that would time travel with you.
Oh, yeah. The
Because I
energy.
mean, they're not more functional than a regular pistol we can get in our time, or even in the '90s.
So the cause to you feels like Total Recall, like it feels like
Not
they're in
total,
the
to
'80s
me, Blade Runner.
or Blade
Yeah,
Runner
you remember
too.
that
Like
those big old junky cars,
so,
Blade
still
Runner.
'80s. I mean, not
Not the
totally
not the ones that
Total Recall,
fly.
but
Yeah,
like
not the
yeah,
ones that fly.
the thing
Yeah,
I didn't
but now
like.
that you say Total Recall, yes, it's
Yeah,
as
that too.
junky and dumpy as that. I mean, Fisher Price needs to get out of the car business.
So
We said this
the thing I
before.
don't like is like you talk about they had to get into this machine and drive to
Yeah, the
whatever.
sled.
What I don't like is when they time travel, the machine is not there. They just come out of this
Yep,
Whipple,
this
and
come out
then
of Ripple,
but then
which
it didn't connect for me. It's like when they go back, right? They just walk into the Whipple and then they suddenly back into that machine.
yep.
Like
And
that
I don't
bothered me a
know,
lot too.
but I guess it rips a thing in time space.
You know what that would have been better for me? It's kind of like how the Avengers in Endgame travel through time, and then they just use that GPS and then they use that power and they go back. That make a little bit better sense instead of driving through
Yeah, I think
whatever.
it's because they didn't show anything.
Yeah, they didn't show
I
anything.
mean,
Yep.
you had the tunnel where you jump through a tunnel. You had the Back to the Future where you jump on a car. Oh, is that right there?
Yep.
It's you have Doctor Who jumps in a TARDIS,
Taurus.
which is actually a spacecraft. Oh, Back to the Future. I mean, not Back to the Future. Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home.
Oh yeah.
They use a Klingon warship, the Bird of Prey. They just fly around the sun really fast.
And the remake
And
or the reboot or we imagine or whatever the first Star Trek was with Chris Pine, they just go through that wormhole in space. They did that in Interstellar
yeah,
too. Yeah.
they just rip in space, which would actually be more close to the ripple that you have on
Oh, and
on
in
this
this
time
movie,
cop.
yeah.
But which also is the same as kind of a ripple, except though you lose all your clothes in Terminator, you show up naked.
Yeah.
Which I want
That's
to
a
point out, I
different
love
thing.
that scene though, where he
Which
goes
one?
to that time portal and he appears on the highway
Oh, that's a
right
pretty
in front
cool
of that
one, right?
truck
Yeah,
and he
another
just
truck. He
drops.
just
I mean,
dropped that.
now you can look at it and you can see it's a green screen
Yeah.
behind him, but still,
But at that
I
time
just
was
thought, man,
awesome.
that
Yeah.
is oh yeah, that is one of the best shots. I thought, wow,
Yeah.
that is a good looking
Yeah.
shot. Where he just
It
pops
feels
out and
like
then shoo.
it feels like it was one of those James Cameron idea. Like he thought of that scene, right? So he wrote a whole movie around it because he
Yeah,
wanted to see
that
that scene.
yeah, that was a good scene.
That was really good.
So so if we're to talk about time travel, so your favorite time traveling device so far would be in-game.
Yes, because it's simple.
Which is good. We threw out the rules, otherwise you wouldn't be able to tell me this.
Yeah, because you brought up the different devices you use to travel through time and like, but the
Yeah,
DeLorean is also very good because they drove in the DeLorean on the other side of the time. The
yeah,
DeLorean is there, which is fine.
Yeah.
Like, but
Well,
I never
there's
seen Doctor Who, so I didn't know, does he get out in and out of TARDIS from where he is in the
TARDIS.
time? Yeah.
Yeah, the TARDIS. He
And
can
then
get
the
in and
time
out of the
machine,
TARDIS.
that machine,
It
the
travels.
time machine
It
is
phases in
always
and
there.
out.
You know, that
Yeah,
thing
it
is
phases out.
always there.
Yeah, he has to take the TARDIS with him to get out. Yeah, almost everything has to take it. The
Yeah,
only thing
whatever
that disappears is
machine,
like
yeah.
Terminator, which Terminator you can't ever move through time. They send you somewhere and that's it.
Yeah, you can't. You just, that's it. You don't come back.
Yeah, you can't come back unless there's a time machine in that period.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because see, they weren't ever going to bring back the
They
Terminator.
weren't going to bring back anybody. Like Kyle Reese
Yeah,
made that decision. Like, once you go back there, you can't come back. It's a
yeah, he
one-way
ain't coming
ticket.
back.
So actually, that was pretty good. So it's not really time travel. It's just time
And the
ticket
thing
one
is,
way.
we haven't done a lot. Honestly, haven't done a lot of time travel movies because we done the Time Machine, which has a time machine,
We did somewhere in
and that's all the
time.
versions. And that's all the versions. What did we do?
Somewhere in time.
What was somewhere in
It's
time?
Superman, right? Wasn't some Superman?
Yeah, was it? I thought it was called something else. But yeah, what did he have?
It's
He
like
just
that
did it in his
assassin.
head.
Yeah, it's the Assassin Creed thing, right? Like,
Yeah, they just did it in the head. Yeah, so far, if I say what's your favorite time machine, man, it's a difficult one, but I almost would just take the DeLorean.
I was scared they did DeLorean too.
But see,
Definitely the DeLorean.
see, a close second is the Bird of Prey, the Klingon Bird of Prey.
Oh.
Actually, I might take the Klingon Bird of Prey
Yeah, for me, I'm not, because Back to the Future, because the call.
because I could blow up crap with the Bird of Prey.
What?
It's got guns on it, dude. You can travel space with it.
I was gonna say you can
I mean-
travel through space is already cool enough.
And some people may argue TARDIS, which is huge, but I'm a Star Trek fan, dude. So I could probably. I mean, I know I can't destroy the TARDIS with a bird of prey, but I can cloak. It has a cloaking device.
Yeah,
I could
do
pack
like.
I could park it in my backyard and no
I
one
mean,
would ever
like the
know.
second for me would be Endgame, the GPS that you could wear on your wrist.
Okay, yeah, the watch.
The watch, because
when you do that, it almost lets you already got one anyways.
yeah, the GPS thing. The explanation for that is just superb. You know, obviously by 2021, right?
Yeah, well, it still doesn't work for me because you need something to make you the time travel. You can't just do it with a watch. It's not going to work for me.
Oh, okay.
Even though the watch
triggers back to that,
technology,
yeah.
it's supposed to use PIM technology and probably shrink you down until you travel through the deal.
Yeah,
The suits, but they did wear suits, so I guess I can't hate on it too much because remember they do have that disc with the suit.
Yes.
They do have a time machine.
Yeah.
I mean, the watch is all that does is just makes the time machine pull you back. I'm sure there's more to it. I mean, it's Star technology. You know it's going to work.
Yeah, I mean,
but the watch is not doing it. The time DeLorean time machine or a bird of prey is pretty cool looking thing.
You know, we've been talking for over 20 minutes now, and like you and I neither had the problem with how they time travel with that one timeline because of Back to the Future thing. So I did like that.
Well, let's put it this way. What was it, Looper? After you watch Looper, this is pretty good.
Oh, I forgot about Looper. I only seen that once.
I hate it. Oh, I hate Looper's time travel.
I only seen that once.
It's like a movie I want to like, but time travel deal and all that crap, it just doesn't fit with this. This one does bother me. You know, when he gets hit, his younger self gets hit, and then he grows the mark. It's like butterfly effect.
Butterfly effect and Back to the Future.
I like Back to the Future, but I'm gonna let Back to the Future slide because I love Back to the Future. That's what started it all.
I forgot that butterfly effect too.
Yeah, Butterfly Effect's good. I like the movie. I mean, the time travel deal, I have problems with that time travel. I have problems with time travel on Back to the Future. I have problems with all the time travels in these. But the problem is, if it's good enough, the story's good enough, I don't have a problem with the movie. I just have a problem with the time travel method.
Oh, okay.
This one, there's really not a lot to this movie. Because, I mean, he only really does his time enforcement once, mainly, to get his partner.
The partner, right? I have a question about that. For you.
He does fly through time, which bothered me because the partner wasn't back when he fixed everything.
What do you mean he wasn't back when he fixed everything?
Well, okay, at the very end of the movie, because back he has fixed everything. He basically erased the senator.
Oh, that's right.
So the senator would have never paid off his partner to mess up. So where was the partner?
Oh, that's good. He should have been where that was. They forgot about that.
It should have just fixed it all back and put it back in order.
It's interesting because they did that in Days of Future Past where they fixed everything, where the Centennial didn't come, and then so everybody was still fine where they were.
Yep.
Oh, that's really good because I was going to ask about Edward, right, his partner.
Yeah.
Why did they send him back to the past to kill him? Can they just kill him at that present time? Because his sentence was death, right? But they just put him back in that deal just so he
Yeah.
could fall to his death.
Yeah.
Like, what was that all about?
Yeah, well, I think I guess because he's been seen in that time, they just wanted him to live out whatever he did,
Oh, so
good
people
damage
don't.
he's done.
Oh, so they don't put it like it's a. Well, he was here one day and then we never saw him again.
Yeah,
Okay,
but
that's
I mean, there's
simple.
still gonna be a lot of questions. I mean, this was just a movie made by people who don't get time travel and didn't want to push time travel in the story. It's just a good story. It's an action movie.
It's
It's
an
more of an
action
action movie
movie
than it's
because
more of an action
a
movie
lot of
with
the
the time
science is
travel element.
simple. Because I put
Yeah,
on note here like how convenient was that the both blood works are close to each other in the
because
hospital.
if we really want to, yeah, because me, if you really wanted to sit here, yeah, we really want to sit here, I could rip this time travel movie
I can
apart because
too.
he's already made tons of mistakes by just jumping here and jumping there and jumping back in the deal.
But this is a
Because
simple time travel movie.
because they don't see, even the characters here don't understand time. They could have fixed a lot of things already
Oh, I didn't
without
think about that. Yeah.
they didn't even have to go there and get her killed. They could have just went back even further back and fixed it right then.
Yes.
I mean, if they already knew that that partner was time jumping and junking time, they could have just went and caught him before he went and did it.
You know, I
And took
forgot
care of
how
it
the
then.
ending was. Like, I mean, I remember like the two was this the same matter cannot occupy the same space at the same time. I mean,
Which
I
I didn't
don't.
like that either. I
Oh,
mean,
I didn't
it's
understand the
neat.
physics enough to understand like to have a good
Oh,
opinion on
I
it.
hate that. I actually hate that.
So
To
you
me,
said
if you could actually step into a time in the past,
okay.
if somehow even physics, I don't care, non-sci-fi, if you can actually somehow go back in time, then you're already touching all kinds of matter that you probably shouldn't be touching. You're
Oh,
already in the spot.
interesting.
You should never have been because you were never there to begin with. Anyways, that's why I say if you ever time travel, it's automatically going to create an alternate reality because you can't go back where you were never there.
There.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I can't go back 5 minutes. If I go back 5 minutes, you're never going to know, and I'm never going to know because another Shane will know. There'll be two Shanes, but it won't be this one because I would still be here with me right now.
Yeah, we talked about that. You will be not
So
here in
that's
this
that's all.
timeline. Yeah.
So time travel is automatically going to make an alternate reality. You can still change that alternate reality, but you're never going to change the time that you
You
lost
came.
unless you have a
Yeah.
GPS monitor and jump back to it.
Oh, that's
Other
the
than that,
best part.
you're constantly sliding down another timelines, and you just keep jumping. You'll never make it back, really. I mean,
Yes.
nobody ever mentioned that. I mean, to me, a good movie would be where somebody time travels because they think they know everything, and once they get back from time, they realize they didn't fix their reality. They're dead in their reality now, and they can never get
Yeah, I
back there.
did come back to it.
They can just keep time traveling, and they just keep sliding down more realities.
Right, because
But
you would come
anyways,
back in the future that the timeline you went back in 5 minutes ago. It's a different
yep.
timeline. It's still with two Shanes. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you could fix the timeline that you're in. You'll go forward and things will change for your deals, but the problem is it will never be the timeline you
That
came
you
from.
came from. Yeah.
Yep. So
It's
that's
very Back
the
to the
neat
Future
thing.
2 discussion there. Yeah.
Yeah, but to me that makes a better time travel story right there. Because the problem is a lot of people want to time travel because they want to fix something in their time travel.
They
But once you
think
get in
that,
that other
yeah.
time travel, yeah. But once you get in it,
Because
then
because
the
Back to
best
the
thing
Future
now,
2
yeah.
messed it up for everybody's thoughts.
For the To me, the best heart
Majority.
wrenching thing is, yeah, the most heart wrenching thing would be if you time travel, you built a time machine, try to fix it, even like in the time machine, where he tries to save his girlfriend or his
Yeah.
wife, or his fiance. You can't fix it. I mean, that was the best thing to me about that time machine, the second one, because he finally had to sit there and realize it don't matter where he goes, he can never get back in that timeline and
That
fix
he
it.
came from. Yeah.
He could fix his timeline and save her, but what good does it do you? Because that is not your
You're you.
girl.
Yeah.
Is
You
your
you
fiance?
never
It's
know.
the
You
other you.
you never
Yeah,
gone
you would
through the
have to
pain.
almost murder yourself.
So
Yeah,
Time Cop actually did that because when he went back to like the end of the movie, his wife is alive, his son is there.
yeah,
It's kind of like Back
yeah.
to
He
the
fixed
Future.
everything.
It's just like Back
Yeah,
to the Future
in
because he
this movie,
changed a
yeah,
little
it
bit thing.
is.
He changed his
And he
the
changed it
life is
all.
in the future. Yeah.
Exactly. But with time enforcement, if they were the thing, they could actually stop a lot of the crimes from ever happening.
It sounds like
Because see,
Minority Report
because
in a
they
way.
actually go and yeah, because they go and they just go right where the problem is instead of going back right when it
So
started.
don't you find it interesting when he said like in the beginning of the movie, there's like well you can go back and kill Hitler because you never know what kind of consequences would be. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, the thing if you were a time authority, you'd want to go back and clean up and never interfere with the timeline.
So I feel like
Because you don't
this.
even, because you really, even if they're, if let's say you could, we know somebody can time travel stuff, and we go, oh, well, it'd be okay. You're making alternate realities. Do you really want to make alternate realities?
Don't know because we would
Because
never know, right?
because since we don't really know how far in the future, if we're the timeline prime timeline or not, how do we know they don't slide back over into ours if they go too far, really far in the
Oh,
future?
that's interesting. It's a
I
fork and
mean,
it will
does it
back to one
correct?
lane.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, does it? Yeah, we make all these forks, but do they just slide back
Just
into?
it's the way that you describe that. It's kind of like everything is supposed to happen a particular way. No matter how you try to change it, right? It does that. Oh shoot! It's like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah. For all we know, an alternate person can't come into our timeline. But what if you're a prime person, lost, do a lot of things, and then you could somehow eventually go far enough? I wouldn't think you could. I think you keep going down in the timeline that you're in, that with the damages you keep continuously making.
Yeah. You know what? This element. This one also has one element, but then time. I mean, the one element this also share with Back to the Future too is the Macomb in the future went to see his younger self. They have
Yeah.
that in Back to the Future too, but it was like an older Biff seeing a much younger Biff. In this one, it's could be 10 years, right? Like 94
Yeah.
and
Yeah. This
2004.
is this was back to basically that when they go to the warehouse, you know.
Do you remember
This is
another movie where
telling
they do that, where they purposely talk to your younger self besides Back to
no,
the Future 2 and this?
I mean I'm not gonna say there's not, but not that I can
Not
remember.
on purpose. I mean, like, they did it in Endgame when Captain America fights Captain America.
Oh
He didn't
yeah,
purposely
well
talk to his younger self, but like, oh great, I had to fight myself. Like, but he didn't want to
well
put
in a
in this
way you could
situation.
also think that Iron Man did it too, but I you know, he talked to his dad.
He talked
But
to
you
his
gotta think
dad.
though, but you gotta remember in the games the rules were every time they time traveled, they did create an alternate reality.
Yeah. Oh, you know what? I just thought of
So
this.
they never really changed the reality they're in. They just took stuff from it.
So Timecop and Back to the Future 2, they talk to the younger self basically for financial gain.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
this is
senator
just for
talks to
financial
himself the
gain.
basic game, which is actually what he should have done to begin with. I don't know why he didn't do it because if you would have talked to himself to make certain bets and stuff, it would have been gone undetected
Easier. Yep.
instead of going and stealing gold.
And the stock market. Yeah.
Yeah, or doing that, the stock market would have been fine. But the problem is,
That's what gambling to you.
he would have bought stocks then. There would have been a discrepancy because he would have had to come in the other times and put it in funds or something. Because if you buy stock here with your name before you're born, and then go all the way up to the future, and you just somehow how do you have that stock?
Yeah. I just
Because
thought of
your
something.
state, you're dead.
One of the greatest things that the senator could have done without messing with anybody's lives, right? Is that computer chip thing. That was it. Remember, he
Well,
told
that's
his
what he
younger
meant.
self, "Don't cash that. This is gonna make billions." Remember, he said that this is gonna make you billions in the future. Just don't cash that check, because that was the mistake. He should have just done that, and then he didn't have to kill anyone. Think
Yeah,
about it. He didn't have to steal the gold. He didn't have to play the stock market. Now I just realized, like,
and we
the
don't know that
computer's technology.
We don't even know he was responsible for stealing the gold because you remember that was a whole different, probably a whole different character.
Oh, so they just
But we
think
don't know where
somebody
it
did.
came
Oh,
from.
it's
It
not.
was
Oh, okay.
weird.
Yeah, it's not Macomb. They just put that to
But the
point out that
problem
you can make money.
but it's got a problem. The thing is, though, it shows him do that, but it doesn't really. But somebody had to do it. They had a time machine, and the problem is, we find out, and maybe they could do it in another story. But by the time we get in the future, they're like, well, how does Macomb keep traveling back? Well, they use the prototype time
Yep.
machine, not the second. They got a time machine, and he has the prototype that was supposed to be destroyed. So who was using it to go get the gold? We
Oh,
don't know.
I don't know. Yeah,
But
I
even the
just
gold,
assume it
the
was
gold.
for,
Remember,
yeah.
the gold showed up in the Middle East,
Oh yeah. So it might
so it
not
would
be
have had to be
him. Yeah.
somebody else.
So it's somebody else. Like, cause
So for all we know, we're thinking the story takes place in 10 years from where they make the time force issue. But for all we know, they could make a sequel to this. They made a sequel, but the sequel's different. Okay, but let's say we made a better sequel. It's actually 30 years in the future, and
oh.
that's where the time travelers is still in the gold come from. So these guys are only
Oh.
enforcing it at this range because they're under the assumption they can't go any further forward.
So it's funny when they say there's a prototype. So that means somebody other than the doctor they mentioned made time travel possible somewhere else.
Yes.
Because they didn't use that prototype, they used something else. And
Yeah.
now we need a
Somebody
police
else.
agency because
Yeah, because
okay,
that's the
yeah.
whole deal. The whole deal of them setting the tables because they are thinking somebody else has the time travel technology too. But the problem is there's always going to be a future, really. So unless you're unless you're in the prime line, let's say you're not in the prime timeline,
Oh,
then
yeah, yeah.
there will always be somebody jumping back in your
Yeah,
timeline.
Tamu made it, the
Yeah, Timu. Yeah, but that's the thing, though. That's the scary thing. If time travel ever gets deal, if you ever see a time travel in your time, then you're not going to be a prime timeline. That means people can
Oh.
continuously come into your timeline and do whatever they
Right,
want.
right, right, right.
So you would need time enforcement then. But the problem is the time enforcement police, whenever they're formed, they're going to have to realize they can't see, they can't, their computers can only see what happened in the past. They'll never be able to see forward. So somebody, so their own selves can come from a time in the future and destroy themselves.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how are you going to enforce all those crimes or all that stuff? Because it may be all those time travelers who come in your line. They may become from 2030. They could be coming from 20. They could become 2100.
Yeah.
Until 20, and you're stuck here 2025. So how are you going to do anything about it?
Wow. Man,
Because they're the future. They're way up ahead of you. So
you're
they
right.
can do whatever they want. Eventually, you'll be at the mercy of whoever's in the future with a time machine.
Yeah. Did you like that
Because it's a,
scene where Macomb, after they go back, because Macomb made a lot of money with the computer technology, so the chief didn't even really know who Max was?
it
Because they were
puzzled
like,
me a little bit.
yeah, it
Yeah,
puzzled you
it
because he
puzzled me because he
changed the
shouldn't.
future.
Because they knew who he was, but they just didn't. They were never friends. Well, how would they never have been friends? That didn't make any sense, really.
Yeah.
But to move the story along, I mean, here let me put it this way: they did something at the first of the movie, and I spent most of the movie wondering why this happened. Okay, at the beginning, he
Okay.
comes out of his house after he's been talking to his wife, which didn't make any sense. His wife should have just told him, "Hey, I'm pregnant, dude."
Yeah.
She could say, "Oh, no, he wouldn't give you a chance." I mean, he gave you plenty of chances. You're just gonna blurt it out, okay?
Yeah, you never
And
said
he,
anything.
and
I
of
know.
course, he wasn't even paying attention to her, so which didn't make any sense either because he's acting like he's such a loving guy. But anyways, he was probably thinking about his job. Anyways, it gets spit up. She gets drunk in the house. The house blows up.
Right.
I'm sitting there thinking, why did the house blow up? That
Oh,
didn't
but they
make
show
any
you
sense
later,
whatsoever.
they had that
They
bomb.
show you later, oh, we had this bomb, and they're actually supposed to. So I guess it would go undetected. But I mean, come on, if you blow up a house, people are going to go, why did the house blow up? I mean, there's going to be a lot of police trying to figure that out. There's going to be a lot of news stories on that. But they're like, oh, it's going to be undetected because they were under the impression, because when he was supposed to have died at the first of the movie.
Right. Oh, yeah,
The
yeah, yeah.
problem is they should have known now because if they blew up his house, well, because I guess because the McCombs we saw, one of the McCombs we saw at the future, he hasn't blown up his house or killed him yet, but he should have already.
Yeah, he should
That's the
have.
thing because we already saw that, so that's already happened. So that should have been he should have been able to go back and go, oh, I'm going to do
You
it
know
better
what?
this time. And
I
in a way, he does say, I'm going to do it different this time, but he doesn't do it different this time.
So there's one timeline thing is just really tough to follow.
Yeah, because you really can't do one timeline.
Yeah.
Even in a story like this, you can't do one timeline because you're gonna set yourself up even while you're writing the story for mistakes. You may make them they may get a cut from a fight, and you go, oh, pat yourself on the back, thinking, oh, I got around this. You did, and because at the end they're all going to get together and they're each going to have fixed the time. Because we show up and the big deal on this scene is, hey, I brought your younger self with me, called him to show up at my house so he could touch you and turn into some crappy
Well,
looking blob that we
well,
saw with the special effects from
let's
Blade.
let's just say that they didn't touch himself, right? Like the bomb goes off, he basically kind of kills his younger self, and he won't be there in the future. I
Yeah,
thought that was brilliant. I
yeah.
thought that was pretty funny too.
But it makes a paradox in a way because let me put it this way: if they're the blood themselves up in that time, of course the younger senator would have never existed. All right.
The
Well, the
older
younger
senator.
sister, the elder
The,
was, but see, the problem is the older senator never existed. Then how did he ever time travel back to that time?
I know. I see. That's
So
the
they
crazy thing.
automatically right there. That's automatically a nod. There has to be an alternate reality,
Yeah.
and that means if there's an alternate reality, you touch yourself, it's not going to do anything.
So you didn't like that, right? The same matter and the same space
I
thing.
do not like that. Even when I was younger and I was watching
What
Back to the
else?
Future,
Okay.
he would always say, "Oh, it could be a paradox, and all this could happen."
Oh,
I
that's
always
right.
sitting
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
even when I was young, sitting there thinking, It don't make any sense. Even to the little Shane, that didn't make sense. Why would it? If you're already there in that space, why would it
I
blow
don't know.
up or disintegrate or destroy the universe? And it
But
doesn't. Remember,
but
eventually it's proven
I like
because
they
the doctor never
try though.
got to.
Like time cop
Yeah,
try. Like I think this is what happens, so let's just do it. Like I don't know.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I was fine with him destroying himself when he touched it. It's just the special effects bothered me there because it reminds me of
It's really bad special
Blade.
effects. Yeah,
Remember the Blade where when he turns into that big
the
old
blood thing.
blood zit?
Yeah.
It's like,
Was it?
oh, this is not
I
working
can't
for
remember
me.
that guy's name now. The actor, Ke Stephen Dorff, right?
Yeah,
Yep. The
I
blood
couldn't
thing. You're
remember
like,
who it
what the
was
heck?
because the sad thing is I couldn't remember which Blade movie it was
I
in.
think it was. It's pretty sure it was the first one
Let
when
me put it
Blake
this
cut him and
way.
he's turned that blood blob thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but this is actually higher up from Blade, I think, for me.
This is
Just
better than
like
Blade.
1 millimeter.
So it's
I
still
could watch it.
the
I think I could watch this. I think I could watch it. This is in the same level, almost forgotten with Blade. I mean, I know there's Blade fans out there, and yay, write me write me a letter if you want to. Put it on the email. I'm not going to read it. I mean, Blade's okay. I mean,
I like
I like the
Blade.
actors. But I like you. I'm not a big fan of Blade like you are. I didn't see it at that time period. Matter of fact, I didn't see any of the Blade movies until me and you
We did
reviewed them.
to reveal them.
It's like this. We always ask this: if I would have watched this as a younger myself, in the year it came out, I would probably have been a bigger fan
Oh,
of this
bigger fan
movie.
of this. Yeah,
The
because
same
you're
thing with
right.
the Blade movies, because when
Oh,
Blade
you're
came
right.
out,
Yeah.
I saw the trailer. I
So
did
that's
see
the
the trailer for
effect.
Blade, and I was amazed with
I
the
talked
trailer
about
from
that
Blade.
too. Like
Yeah,
it's the
it's
effect.
the
It's because when we
it's the
saw this when
effect.
we were younger. Yeah.
Exactly. There's so many. I mean, you got to think. There's so many things I've come in contact. So many movies I've seen. So many actors I've seen act. I mean, they haven't reached a threshold that's been set after they made the movie. You know,
That's true.
it's going to be hard to catch up with, like you said. It's. I mean, I understand why you try to set the ground rules at the beginning, but the
Yeah.
problem is, if you set the ground rules, then it really limits me what I could say or stuff. Because I mean,
Does
you
it though?
want it would because
Think
I
about
would
it.
have to go.
Let's
Oh
just
yes,
say.
I love this movie,
So, are you saying that like a
but I
lot of the
don't.
movies we review, we review again as soon as like if we done Time Cop back in '96, it would have been different than what are we doing now, because
Exactly.
we didn't
We
know
would
the
have had
rules as much as like oh
exactly.
yeah the understanding of physics
But
and
I don't
time
want to
travel.
pretend. But I don't want to pretend that I haven't seen all this
Do
stuff.
you think that would be
And
easy though? Like
it
if I set the
does.
time rule, like would it be hard? Like well, I can't say this. That's it.
Yeah,
Would
it
it make
would
it
for me
harder?
because I like to
Actually, I would make it
compare.
harder for myself too.
I like to compare it with other movies that everybody's
We
seen
seen.
too. Yeah, Endgame is really changed the time deal for me.
Oh, it
Finally
did for
shows
me too.
it finally shows a lot of time rules that I've always thought, and it keeps stuff from happening like Looper. I mean, of course, Marvel did that cartoon series.
What if?
Yeah, What If? And they have a time deal with Doctor Strange, which oh, it irked me so much. It irked the crap out of me. I mean, I like the story, and the story is good, but the problem is the time deal. It's like, well, you just went against the rules that Rhodey and all them said it was impossible, and that's what made Endgame so great is the time
The
travel
time
rules.
travel deal too.
Because if you're going to set up alternate realities for stories in the future, you're going to have the time travel rules in order to make these alternate realities work.
I
But
think you just get
anyways,
sucked in. Like you enjoy those rules so much, but then you don't want those to be broken in a way that you don't want
well,
to understand them.
if you want you to break it, I want you to do clever and make me go, wow, I didn't think of that.
I understand what you mean. Yep, I feel
If
the
you're gonna
same way.
break it, yeah. Otherwise, I'm sitting there
I don't,
thinking,
I don't
did you not
hate it
watch?
as much as you
Well,
would.
I don't want to sit there and go. So I guess y'all didn't watch your other movie. Y'all make this. Y'all are part of the studio that made Endgame, but now you're acting like y'all never made
It's
Endgame.
tough though. It's not the same writers. They don't really double check on everything, right?
Actually, all they had to do was go watch Endgame.
I guess.
They should. If you're gonna make Marvel stories, watch them. If you
I
want, and like
guess. Oh, you mean you
same thing
want to
with
make
you. Let's
canon watch them? Yeah.
No, if you want to be on the Marvel MCU, if you're going to be making MCU movies and you're going to be a writer or you're going to be an actor or something, watch. Would hope you've watched them instead of
Yeah.
showing, oh no, I didn't see that. You know, and I notice a lot of actors don't.
Let's see. Let me see what
I'm
else
not going
I
to call
put.
them out right now. I ought to, but I mean, come on. The best way to make a good story or a universe work, it needs to follow a rule.
Yeah.
It needs to have a rule. You know, it's got to have canon. If you're going to make a continuous deal of stories for a universe, I mean, Star Wars universe works because they try to follow canon.
Hmm.
I mean, I know they had a lot of books and a lot of crap that I never saw, and they have some issues. Same thing with Star Trek. But if you're going to build a universe, it's got to be a universe that functions in a certain will, like our world. Our world has a certain way it works. Sometimes we break rules, but we don't really break any rules. We made up a rule that we didn't ever understand.
So, based on what you just said, before you continue,
Okay.
so it doesn't make sense for us to use another time traveling rule from another universe to bring it to a different universe, though.
But to have something to talk about, yeah.
Just to something to talk about, like, so it does make sense for Timecop. Like, hey,
But
we could say that Timecop got it right. We could say Endgame got it right. Back to the Future loop
actually,
or
you
whatever.
can't. But after all we talked about, you couldn't say Time Cop got it right or Back to the Future got
No,
it
I'm
right
just saying,
because
like, based on what you
the,
just said.
because they didn't have a rule, so it makes plot holes in their story.
But we're only basing on those plot holes from what we learned from other movies.
Well, I would think though, there's plot. I don't think it would be because
Oh, I don't know.
there's always been plot
Oh,
holes.
I don't
Because
know. I
like
mean,
even
like,
when I watched Back to the Future 2 a long time ago, without ever seeing Endgame, it already had plot holes for me. Because it's like, well, how did he do this, or how could he travel back this? It didn't
oh
make
yeah,
any
yeah, yeah.
sense.
It doesn't make any sense for
And
him.
the same thing with this movie. You don't have to have ever seen Endgame. So yeah, I guess you're right. Even if you have the
Well,
rules,
Back to the Future
like
2 did
him
it really
travel
smart,
back.
though. When he traveled back from 1985 after Biff had the book, he did go to the alternative one. And what they did is they try to get ahead before they give himself the book, which was the plot hole right there. He would have never given himself the book from that past, that future. Yep.
He would have never did it. Same thing with this one. See,
Yeah.
that's the problem is the movies already have a plot hole. Even if you were just to put logic to it,
Yeah.
you don't need to have seen Endgame to
Oh,
know that
so
this doesn't
we
work.
both agree that like once Marty and Doc is stuck in that alternative 1985, they would never be able to fix it. They're stuck with that timeline
They
now.
should never been able to fix it.
What they created is there's two
An
Doc
alternate
Brown.
reality.
One is in an insane asylum. One is out, and then
Yep.
Marty was. There's two Martys because they talk about Martys in Europe.
Well,
Yeah,
if you had the other Marty that from the beginning of the first movie, you got more now.
yeah.
But the thing about Back to the Future, it was a good story. And at the end, after the third one, remember Doc comes out on his train. It's like, do whatever you want.
Yep.
And basically, it's his character not really saying do whatever you want by the timer. It's just this is a good story. Just sit back and enjoy it.
So this time cop is kind of like Back to the Future. At the end, he has a happy ending because he.
It has a happy ending.
Yeah. Wow, this is very
I mean,
similar, Shane.
It has a very good ending. He fixes everything. It's like Masters of the Universe. Everything's good.
Yeah. Well, I was gonna say he killed a lot of birds
Masters
with
Universe.
one stone too. Before we get on, he actually was able to stop Macomb and save his wife at the same time.
Well, let's put it this way. If he was done what he did at the end of the movie at the beginning, we wouldn't have had a movie to watch.
Who done what at the beginning?
Jean-Claude Van
Oh,
Damme.
okay,
He could have took care of the whole thing at the very
Oh,
end.
right
of
at the
movie.
beginning, yeah, when he could time
Yeah,
travel.
he could have went back.
But
to
then
the
he
kid,
said, like, hey, if I cannot go back to change my, like, save my wife, that son of a bitch cannot go back and steal money. I think that was the line just to throw you away from what you just said, though. Like, I can't go back and save my wife. But at that time, he didn't know it was going to connect like that.
Well, it's also because of that girl that he had to go back to see in that time. Remember?
Oh, that was pretty good.
She
actually.
dies. Yeah, that was pretty good. But she also basically tells him what why don't you just go back and fix it,
Yeah. And also, like, I like that. Like, if you're not gonna take me back, like, hey, I already know who's gonna win the next 10 World Series. I can make some money. Like that, Yeah. I was the same with the Cowboys game. I still remember a lot of games. Like, I can't believe we won, and I remember the date and time, and then go back and make some money.
Make some money.
Just like exactly Back to the Future too. Like, didn't you hear that old man? Even the guy said the game is over. Listen, oh, there's so many football games all like that. Like, oh, I can't believe they won. They pulled out at the end. Yeah, wow, that's crazy.
I couldn't have won. If I go back in time, I'm not gonna be able to win on sports.
Well, just probably like when Rangers won the World Series or Mavericks won the
Yeah, I don't remember that.
2011.
I'm just gonna have to invest in technology because all I'm gonna remember is what comes out next.
Yeah, just that technology. So it's basically stocks. It is an
Yeah,
easy way to make money, just
it
time
is.
travel.
It's an easy way to make money because you know it's going to make it.
Yep. Wow, that's crazy. So I didn't understand the beginning. Like, why is that guy checking the newspaper from 1920 to 2004? Why isn't he checking the newspaper for the next day or like?
He's still checking the current deal so he can get the current price.
Oh, okay.
He had the one in the future because he knows he's just lining them up to see. So what's here is going to make the biggest jump.
But then it takes like 80 years then, though.
But
19.
he's going to travel back and cash in. See, that's where the plot hole is.
Oh, he
He's
bought that
buying
many.
stock.
Yeah.
He's buying stock,
Oh,
and
by 10,000. He still the
I'm sure
10,000 in the
I'm
future.
sure they
Okay.
would explain it. Yeah, I'm sure they would explain it. The stock has to be put somewhere so he can retrieve that stock when he gets back to his time.
Oh,
So
okay.
basically, it's like time traveling to the future. So yeah,
Okay.
it's be like me going back in time and buying some expensive
Land
antique.
or even land cheap and then go
Yeah,
back and I own this land for
yeah, yeah,
four
and then go
dollars.
back.
Wow.
Yeah, and all you do is like you made a lot of millions of dollars in what, an hour, however
Yeah.
long it takes
Or
you to get
however
back
long,
to.
yep.
Yeah, from there to there.
Wow.
And he wasn't going to stay back there in that time at
Well,
all because remember
he was just a henchman.
he even begs to stay in that time without getting killed. But it's like, I'm sorry,
Because he
you're
doesn't
either
want his
going
family
forward.
to be hurt. He's strong
Yeah,
enough. They brought that up. Like, tell me he's going to kill your family. And he
yeah,
kills her anyway.
yeah. But the problem is he could have went back and prevented all that too.
Well, if you say it like that, like, you could go to one point in a moment in time, right, and prevent all that. Just go back and kill Macomb.
He could have. Yep, all he did was go back and stop McComb. That's it. He could have done a lot of things. But I mean, oh well. Like I said, we would have had a
Then
movie,
we
so
wouldn't
we
have a
wouldn't.
movie, yeah.
You would have a movie because I mean
Time
that
travel
was
is just so
why
hard
it
to
would.
write.
Time travel is. I wouldn't think time travel would be hard to write. I think it's people if they understood the alternate realities, then they'd have a story there.
You know what was the easiest? If you go back in time, right? But like you can't go to the exact time. You kind of go like the time travel is not perfect. I'm saying like
Yeah,
let's just kind of like the DeLorean is perfect. Let's just say like okay, I want to go back to 1985. 9 a.m. So the machine is like they can't do exactly. They can do 1985, but maybe not 9 a.m. It's either like 8:55 or whatever. You just take it and leave. Take it or give an hour. You know what I mean?
here's something. Here's something that always bothers me. It's probably never going to bother anybody else. But let's
Okay.
say we build a time machine. We build that DeLorean.
Okay.
Here's what sucks about that DeLorean. You enter a time. It's supposed to travel back that time, but all machinery does it on a function of time. A time is 60 seconds in a minute,
Okay.
so forth. The thing is with the way the Earth spins and stuff in leap years and all that
Oh, you told
stuff.
me, yeah.
Not even leap years. You got to think the Earth sometimes spins faster. It's actually starting to spin faster now. So if you go back too far enough, you're going to be off.
Yes, it won't be exact.
Because
Yeah, you talked about that before. Yeah.
Because I mean, everybody on this planet moves calendars, time, and stuff
Yep.
to be back in with the way that we think the Earth's moving. So there's a lot of time that's been lost.
Yep. And the exact
I
location
mean,
is not that.
a
Yeah.
lot of people will go, "Oh yeah, it's just hundreds of seconds every year or so." All that adds up to minutes, times. If far back you want to go see Jesus or something, it's going to be days, maybe or weeks.
Oh, I like this.
And
This
a machine,
calculation.
because the Earth does not move exactly
The same.
24
Yeah.
hours. It's not as sometimes every day is a different.
So you're saying like some of those time machines has already put those calculation and math into your mind?
They would have, but the problem is we're not going to know a lot of this data way back in the back,
No,
far
we're not.
distance, how quick. I mean, we could put math calculations, but like sometimes you don't know how the Earth spun. Then
Yeah.
it is not precise. It is not a mathematical precise calculation, and any machine you build is going to have to be on precision almost.
Yeah. I'm so glad we talked about that.
So you're going to show up wrong somewhere.
Not exact location. Yeah. Like, oh, what the hell
Yeah,
am I?
and yeah, I mean, even we know that it's sped up. You can make those calculations to the machine, but I mean, there may have been that one day where something moved too close to the Earth and tilted it or took it off a little bit. It lost a hundredth of a second or so.
Yeah. That's very interesting.
So yeah, I'm thinking, yeah, writers, write that.
Yes, we talk about the time
I,
machine. Like
I
you
think it
can't
just
just
goes to
stay
show
there. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time type. I put a lot of time into thinking about
And to
time
think about
machines
this, yeah,
ever since Back to the Future. As soon as Back to the Future 2 came out, I already had lots of problems with it, even though I liked the movie.
yeah, Back to the
Because
Future
I mean,
too.
because the biggest problem with Back to the Future 2 is like, Marty, something's wrong with your kids. You need to travel to the future, fix it. I'm like, hey Doc, how about you tell me what's wrong,
And then
and
no,
then
just
when they're
avoid it. Yeah.
born, yeah, when they're born, I'll just beat them and tell them don't do this.
Yeah, you have the exact date and time. Like, hey, you're grounded.
You
You're not
know,
going anywhere.
well, actually, but the problem is like for what his kids did, it's not this date that they did it. It's how they were raised,
Mm-hmm.
made them the people who did this. So it'd be more like Doc Brown should come back. Hey, Marty, you and Jennifer are going to have to be a little stricter in your household on your kids because all the choices that you make, they eventually add up to your
Man,
kid being a
we
criminal.
bring too much thought into this when people just
Well,
write a simple
I have
story.
lots of
You know what
lots
I
of
mean?
time.
Oh,
Lots of time.
I know. I understand what you mean because I think about that sometimes. So like, why don't they just do this? Yeah, it's kind of like the
Yeah.
YouTube channel, right? Like, how
Well,
could
let
it
me
have
put it this
happened?
way. I've thought a lot of because if I build a time machine, I want to know all the problems I might have. And the biggest problem is I can't fix anything in the future because it's going to make an alternate reality. And I will never be able to make it back to this world anyway. So I've already decided if I ever build a time machine, I'm just going to go chaos on the next time, next reality.
I think we talked about this before, but
We did.
no.
Well, see, I won't hurt.
I
See,
bring up that
the
Simpsons
nice
thing.
thing is, it won't hurt you at all.
No, because
You
like
just go.
Homer did
You
that.
just won't be able to.
I need to
Just
find that
somebody will have
clip.
to. Yeah, somebody else will have to take over my show though, because
I will find you that clip where like Homer did that thing,
segment of
right?
the
Like
show. Yeah.
he goes back in time, then he just beats up everything. That was so
Yeah.
funny.
Well,
It's
see,
exactly what you said. I'm gonna go chaos.
yeah. Well, that's the thing. If I ever build a time machine, all the shows like this right now, well, it'll just be Erickson here instead of me.
Oh, that's
Someone's gonna have
interesting.
to take
Oh,
my
it might not
place.
even happen too.
Well, I can't fix this reality. Remember?
Yeah, I mean like the like
Well, you got to
we know it
talk to
never happened.
somebody.
Yeah, I might
It's
mean
either
like I might not
Cody.
even happen. Like this show might
Well,
not
I'm
even
not.
happen.
If I time travel, this show will happen because, like I said, I'll be out of this reality. This I can never alter this reality.
Oh, you talk about like okay,
Now,
yeah,
in the reality I'm going to, it may never happen.
yeah, it might never happen. Yep,
I may
that's
never
very
even
true.
meet you because I'm like, oops.
Yeah. So, just based on your idea, right? I talked to you about my movie idea before. You
Which one?
I think it's the detective one where like trying to solve a murder because now we go to a different timeline. It's
Yeah.
gonna be different. Like it's just my older self giving my younger self the clues on who committed the murder.
Yeah, because I talked to you about one. What if you go back to time and there's a murder, and it turns out the murderer is you. You murder yourself because you try to
Oh,
take their spot in the other timeline.
wow.
I mean, how are they going to do that? I mean,
I don't
it's
know.
like all the DNA points out to you, and so you're like they're thinking, well, there's nobody ever showed up because he was the only person in this entire house. We DNA'd everything, and it's the same DNA.
Yep. Wow. That's crazy. No
Yeah.
entry. Like
Well, come on, think if you built a time machine to go back to time, you either did it for fun or you did it out of desperation. Because all the movies, I mean, technically, if we ever do time machines, because somebody wants to build a time machine, and go, hey, look what I did. But in all the movies you watch, it's always because they want to go back and fix something. Somebody wants to go back and do something. They want to go back and
or
steal
steal
money. They want to
something.
go back
Yep.
and save somebody. The problem is that has to be the best movie because if you go back in time, it's going to be alternate reality. So you'll never be able to save the person in your timeline.
Yeah,
You'll never be able to do that.
but for
And
the
so the
simpleton, it's
problem
not
is,
that
but here's the problem
difficult.
though. The person that went back is going to be desperate now. So they may decide to just to move into that timeline, take over that person's
Well,
spot.
you and
Let's
I
say
both agreed that
this,
we would do that, though. Like, if we go
yeah,
back,
most
there's
people
no way
would.
to come back to this one. Just stay there.
Yeah, yeah, because I don't know Tony Stark.
Yeah.
But the thing is, yeah, you would have you. There's going to be two of you. What are you going to do with the other you?
I would probably just move to another country.
Yeah, but you might want all the stuff he has because there's your kids,
Or just
there's your
another
wife.
state. Or you know what I would
Yeah,
do? I mean, like, let's just say I go back a week, right? Know the lottery numbers for I'm going to win the Powerball and the Mega Million, right?
yeah, but you don't want to draw too much attention now.
No,
Because you got to think, our world's not where you can just disappear and appear. As time goes on, they're going to know
that's
who are
two.
you? Yeah, who are you? Yeah, they may not know there's two of you, but they're going to look at you and go, who are you? You have to have a social security card number. Unless you
Yeah.
don't, you already know how not to work, but they go get the money. You got to have a social security card number. You're going to have to commit fraud. You're going to have to be kind of a criminal to make it.
Wow.
I mean, there's some ways if you can win money, that's not a big deal. The problem is to go get that money. You got to have an ID.
Oh,
And it'd be weird if you go, oh, Lamb, you won $1 billion. And then you'll be watching the other you will be on TV watching. Look, this guy's got the same name I got, which is possible.
so I have
But
to
they
talk to
may start
myself.
taxing. But they may start taxing. Yeah, you have to go back and talk to yourself because they're going to charge. They're going to go. Well, we're going to charge taxes on that $1 million. They're not going to tax you. They're going to tax your alternate self. Because your alternate self's going to be saying, "They're going. I haven't got $1 million, dude. I don't know what's wrong. What's wrong?"
Well, but that tax is taken out before you collect the price anyway.
All right, there. It's
Yeah.
you're lucky. You never, you know that they're going to want more money. Somebody's going to, people are going to send mail to your other self wanting a little bit of that money. Oh, the build church or something.
So you have to talk to your like you have to talk to
You
your
would probably, you
younger
would have
self.
to
Yeah.
talk to your younger self. You'd have to go over there and say, hey, or your older self. Depends on what time you time travel to. Well, it'd be your younger self because if you time travel to anywhere forward, you'll never have a problem with yourself.
Yeah.
So basically, a time machine, the best way for a time machine is to invest in the stock, invest in some stocks, or invest where you know money continuously goes up, and just travel forward in the future and then go get it. No, never come back.
But you would have to
Wouldn't be
know the
wouldn't be
future.
good for you. No, you don't have to know the future. I mean, a lot of things just make money continuously. Invest a whole bunch of different stocks, or just put money in there in
Oh, I'm saying
savings
that you would
account,
need to know the stocks first before you go back
or
to the
invest in a
future.
savings account, or buy something you think it might be worth money,
Oh, you talk about like yeah, okay.
and just go forward in the future. I mean, you're not eating, you're not spending money, you're not paying taxes or anything. You just go forward, you pop out, hey, collect that money.
Oh, so it'd be like
It
what's
wouldn't be good for you because your kids would be all grown up and they go, where you been, Dad?
I've been traveling through time.
Yeah,
I'm like interstellar.
yeah, yeah,
Wow, this is
yeah.
I think
Yeah,
every
you'd
time
be,
I yeah I do love to talk about time travel.
you'd have to go visit your kids at the nursing home. It wasn't because you're in the nursing home, it's because they're in there.
Wow, that's crazy.
So,
You can go to time and commit all kind of crime and just leave that timeline and then like what the hell
yep,
happened? I don't know.
yep, yep.
Just
They
never go
think you're
back to the
dead.
future again.
All you have to do is outrun it. Maybe go 100, come back 100 years from now.
Or go yeah, outright go 100 or just go back in time. Man,
But
that's
who knows?
crazy.
But the only problem is, what if they're tracking people by the future?
So you're saying that like I'm not the only one with a time machine. So we go back to Timecop.
Oh, you would most. The problem is though, with alternate realities, though, y'all never interfere with each other really.
No. Eventually, that would be funny. Like, you start a time movie, right? Like a TVA or this time cop. Then your ultimate villain is that person. He's already been doing this for a long time, and that's your main target finally. Like, so this guy's been doing this for 50 years, and we finally have this agency.
Yeah. Well, the
Oh,
thing is, with the way time travel works, if there was alternate realities, then there could only be a time police, but they're never coming in our line.
yeah. Then we would never know either.
Yeah, you never know. That's the thing. That's the thing about right now. It's not just that. Let's say if somebody builds a time machine, if there's alternate realities, we'll never know because they'll never slide back into this time.
Yeah. Wow, this is
Another
crazy.
other realities may see it, but we won't.
Yep.
Now, 5 years from now, we may see somebody come back from the future in a time machine.
Huh. This is crazy. Every time we talk about time travel, it just gets me all weird and like, how'd you think about this?
It's a lot to think about
It is. But
because
then,
it's
no,
basically you got to build a map to watch to understand time travel.
yeah, very true.
Because I mean, even for this movie, we could build a map, but the problem, the map would be all over the place for Timecop, and a lot of it wouldn't even make a sense because a lot of it would have you would have to use the alternate reality rule to make some sense of how he traveled back in here and did this.
Oh, you know what? They did have the device. We didn't talk about it. Yeah, like you have to go back to your
Yeah, they had
timeline.
that little
They
box.
have
where it
that
keeps that
box.
little
Yeah.
box.
So it's kind of similar maybe it's similar to that
Basically,
GPS thing.
it's similar, but the problem is all it did was open up a portal. But the problem is they don't have alternate timelines here,
No.
because we thought they could have said they had alternate timeline, but as soon as he hit him and it made that scar, the alternate timeline story's already gone.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean,
that's
yeah,
skull thing.
alternate
Yeah.
reality's gone. They already made it. They made it. It's like the story went and there was alternate timelines,
You know,
and then he got that scar, and then it went back.
since he had that
There's
skull
only
thing,
one
you know,
timeline.
what's really funny that I thought like when he told him like, "Hey, lay off the candy balls." As soon as he said that line,
yeah.
he turned skinny. But they couldn't do that technology. They could do the
Yeah.
scar easily, but like
They should
lay off
have.
the
They
candy
should
balls, he's
have.
just suddenly skinny. Like, oh, my clothes are
Yep, he
looser.
should have got skinny.
Yeah. So so eventually, no, I'm not gonna lay off these candy balls, man, because it's my the anxiety thing.
Yeah, he was just being a jerk to himself, though.
Yeah, he's a
I don't think it had.
himself.
Yeah, I don't think it had anything to do with his character. Probably his younger self probably didn't eat a lot of candy bars either. He's just being mean.
I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna start drinking gravy by the cup.
Because I mean, that would be a good villain. A villain would be somebody who probably didn't like their younger self, anyways.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow, you know what? After talking to this movie, the movie is not getting better, right? But it just gets more interesting.
The movie is an interesting movie. I didn't think it's going to be this interesting to talk about, but it was. I mean, I didn't dislike. Like I said, I didn't dislike the movie. It was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
It's just, I'm sure though, after time, I'd forget about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to rush out and go look for a Timecop 2 or go watch the TV series.
Yeah, the TV series got canceled after 9 episodes, and then they made a straight to video.
Yeah, Timecop 2.
Isn't that the weird thing now? Straight to video. A lot of stuff is straight to video now because of streaming. Now that's not that big of a deal.
Well, that's the thing though. Yes, that was straight to video though, because that was before we had all the
streaming
stuff. But there was always a lot of straight to video movies back then. Because remember, we'd always go to video stores. Some of the best gems I ever found were straight to video.
Yeah.
I think like Puppet Master, never saw that. Overlord, Hard Drive, straight to video.
I mean, the movie's still getting made.
RoboJocks. I saw that. That was a cool one. I mean, if I was to watch them now, if I watch them now,
probably stupid.
For the first time, I probably wouldn't like them. Like RoboJocks. RoboJocks, I know it's not that good, but I like BattleTech, so it tied into it. Basically, it was like Pacific Rim before there was Pacific Rim.
Oh, okay.
RoboJocks was pretty good though. I'd like it again now if I watch it. I think just because it brings back memories like Puppet Master. Puppet Master was that good, but it was funny. It was awesome.
Glad you thought about like the straight to video stuff. It's just basically like it's still a good movie being made. It's just that they didn't have the money to market it to a movie audience.
Or the movie wasn't that good because basically we've already reviewed big movies that look like they should have been direct to video. This was 90s, but if it was made today with what we see, it would be direct to video.
Yeah. Because, yep, that's very true. All right, so I think it's time to wrap it up and start worrying about what's on the next one. So tomorrow might have been a better day. Thank you for tuning in for this episode of Tensai Reviews. If you like what you heard, give us a thumbs up. Follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll see you on the next one.